Now I can't tell if we're live or not. Are we rocking and rolling? Is this the most awkward thing ever? Let me know in the chat if we are live, rocking and rolling. There, looks like we are. If not, sucks to suck. Okay. We're live and rocking and rolling. Looks like at least it shows me that I'm live. You might have to refresh. Okay. Cool. We have chat confirmation. What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Memorial Day. Don't want to get that one wrong. Let's do this. So, first link never connects. Okay. Anyway, Memorial Day. I might look a little bit. Oh gosh, someone said I was wearing Oakleys. I actually don't wear the super thick sunglasses. I did have my sunglasses on while out at the lakes, ponds, whatever they are, fishing, kayaking, all that. I'm burnt. There is an echo. There shouldn't be. Let me know if there is. He says, "Hey, lobster." We're gonna get the charts here in a second. Per usual, right? We're going to break down the week, right? So the dollar, the Russell, the Nasdaq, the S&P. Along with the dollar, we'll probably check out Bitcoin, gold. That's just kind of like the normal stuff. There is one ticker I do want to add that is going in my investment portfolio tomorrow. And a decent chunk, as a matter of fact. Now, I bring this up and award it this way because it could double, and I'll probably just sell it. Depending on the price action, I want to keep it for the long haul, but if it turns into a pump, I will sell it. You guessed it, it's GameStop. Just kidding. It's not GameStop, but you'd have to stick around for that. It's not NVIDIA either. Oh man, NVIDIA is going in. Both of them are going in the growth account. I'll put it that way. Both of them. But we gotta get everything else broken down first. Good news is there's gonna be no more confusion as to what channel I'm on. So if you guys could do me a huge solid and share this one, I've been doing the simulcast on multiple channels. I promise to keep Power Zone trading active for Brad. Brad doesn't want to do that anymore. I did make a video alerting everybody. Brad took that down. So if you guys could help me get the word out on that. There's just not going to be – I mean, I don't know if it takes you that long to figure it out. I don't know if investing's for you anyway. Brad hasn't been around in 3 months. He's been on YouTube plenty, right? He's got his other YouTube channel that he does with his friends. It's just not the stock thing. And a little bit behind that, guys, YouTube, it pays a lot less now for the stock people. Anyway, it just didn't make sense for him to be live. He wasn't making money on it. Anyway, luckily for you, I make money on stocks and trading. That's kind of my thing. So we're gonna get rolling. We're gonna rock and roll. So again, if you guys could just do me a huge favor, just make sure share this, right? And then tell them the intro is awkward and but get past that. We'll get into stocks. The YouTube world. IWM. I'm gonna break down futures first because some people come here just for that. I've already made them wait long enough. Shout out to Win. He's usually the guy that comes in. He's like, get it and get her. And I definitely appreciate that. All right, starting with the dollar. We are down. Am I getting richer as we speak? I do check my Forex plays typically when I go live with you guys. I am short the dollar right now, short the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. So I do need the yen to help out. It's not helping at all. It's going the other way. Right now it's nothing, so I need that to break absolutely down. If you guys are new here, this is last time we were here was pretty problematic. And I'm sorry, the last time this happened, I had just been born and it popped up into here, and I tried to. It took me a while to learn how to talk, but I finally did. Told him get that crap out of here. Brought it back down, and anyway, I'm gonna have to have the same messages again. If I was long, where would I add on? First of all, I wouldn't say that because that would get me banned from the stream. If I was long the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. Let's look on a smaller time frame because so green is a monthly zone. You guys don't see a lot of green zones. In fact, Bitcoin was the only one that held that for the longest time. Man, I don't know if I would be looking at this price action because we had news come out, right? And so let's just take the most recent we have available right there. Now, that's a 4-hour daily time frame. 8 hours, pretty common in Forex. Looking at that, so we had this news, whatever it was, right? Sent it up, sent it down. Drastic move down. Hit that again. There's your type 1 line. As we hit that level again, sold off, not really sold off. So I bet we'll flirt with some sell-side activity right inside this top mark as well. If I'm really going to add on, I guess it would be here because we've had 4 days of sideways action. I'd put my stop below this red wick. Gives me all that green wick. Gives me some data. If we break that, could just be a giant, could be a dip buy, could be a higher low, but it could not be. It could be one of these red candles, and I'm not trying to do that in a Forex account. All right, what's the Bitcoin doing? Still reacting to these weird, stupid boxes someone drew. Anyway, playing the back and forth game. Again, guys, Bitcoin holder and buyer. I don't really trade it, but my signal right now is I buy more at 50, which we were headed there pretty nicely after this last move up. You know, I don't know if it's going to get there. We'll see. But my real add-on, aside from my buy every week, which is automatic, I don't have to touch it, I need to see hedging the dollar. If I see us hedging the dollar with this, that's when I buy. I don't care if it's at $84,000. I came on here super excited when it was at 16, telling you guys what I had found, and I will do that same reaction if it's 184,000. Once I know that kind of money is in Bitcoin, then I'm all about it. As far as the S&P goes, this is a short week, right? So the open so far is red. We'll see. Last week we dropped down, hit that zone. So I am long ES right now. This actually happened right at the beginning of one of my streams. Went long right there. Decided to keep it, so I am still in my ES contract. My stop is actually down here below this green wick. I'm going to leave it there. It's up. It's fine. If it continues, then we're good. When can I dump my questions? Let me get right about IWM time. When I'm on IWM, start popping them. Let me pull up the expected moves real quick for you guys, just so I can. I'll adjust the charts later for everyone that has that. So right now we have SPY's expected move 494, QQQ 605, IWM 296. Now all of these are smaller, but not that much smaller, which was interesting because we have a whole less day on here, which typically on retail weeks, I call them retail weeks, just I feel like there's just less participation. You can see a whole day missing in the expected moves. This was like half a dollar off on those, which tells me I don't know if we're expecting some volatility or if what's going on. Let's check the news real quick while we're at it. Make sure nothing exciting is happening. Today's the 27th, so we have. This is Thursday. Oh yeah, right there at the top. Sometimes reading is hard. Okay, so jobless claims, GDP on Thursday, PCE on Friday. All right, so we got some excitement. We'll see. As far as the Nasdaq goes, okay, so I guess to be clear, I'm long ES. That's that. Just going to stay there. If that zone breaks, I might be short intraday. That'll be something I tell my group about and probably talk about later on YouTube. But it had to break that zone for me to be short unless it's outside of some intraday trend. Now, in Q, I would do the same thing. If I wasn't in Q right now, I would buy it with a stop right below here. In a futures account, that's might be a little bit more movement than you guys are used to. And so here's something that I do. If that's too much, because I like ES, but if let's say that stop is a little bit too wide, I'll actually break down into 5 MES contracts. So if I'm ever in MES, you'll hear me talk about 5, 10, 15 contracts, and I do that for a very specific reason, because I keep these as hedging. Let's say I'm going long one and I'm on a different time. Maybe I'm long the hourly 4-hour time frame. But I see 15 minutes, hourly pullback coming up. So I'll switch to the other one. I'll be long ES and I'll be short MES, and it'll be 5 contracts. I'm typically not at a neutral delta or anything like that. But that's why instead of going from 5, 10, 15 contracts as opposed to just going to one. But same with this. If it was NQ, I'd do MNQ. That's why I'd have to put my stop down there for now. And as long as we're on the gain train, I guess I would have to be too. Let's see. Last week we got just outside the expected move, came back, and then closed it just close. The Russell went from looking the strongest, and by strongest, at least the more stable. It was like the stable one in the relationship. ES and NQ were they were just kind of erratic, it seemed like, where this was more of just a grind up. It had that meltdown. Unfortunately, right now, this push up right here is still just inside this. It took significantly more time. This was 8 hours. Here's 8 hours begin. Here's another 8 hours. Here's another 8, another 8, another 8, and another 8 hours, and we still haven't recovered. This is a lot of times why shorts just like to go short, because that's where all the fear, the panic, the emotions are at. It's where people make stupid decisions, and it happens fast. I'm thinking as long as we are in this range, let's keep an eye on that range. So what's that on the daily? Daily trend technically broken. There's an argument there with that wick. So I'm going to keep an eye on just that dump right there on the 4 hour. Breaks that, not a wick, breaks and closes. That will probably be our signal. Let's see if we don't chop around sideways. I like these because I think this was a news event. There was 3 letters that came out. I forget which one. It really irrelevant to me, to be honest. But I know if someone's trading it, same thing as earnings. There's investors that are invested in the things. They don't care what earnings are. They're going to read the earnings report, but they're not buying or selling. They're not doing anything like that. Anybody that's going to be on the transaction side of buying, selling, adding, cutting loose, is watching during these news events. So we had all hands on deck during that event, and it sold off this much. We've had to buy the dip crowd show up and do as much as they can, and we're here. So I know if all hands are on deck and we did this, I want to know when we get outside of that. Long 1 NQ, long 1 NQ, short 10 MNQ, and get ripped face both ways. There's a term for that. It's called boxing, and a lot of people used to try it, right? They would buy TQQQ and SQQQ. They would go long NQ, short MNQ, or long and short in different accounts, and they would set a stop on both and see which one pans out. And it's a real easy course to sell people on how you never lose, but in the real world, that strategy just doesn't work. Your risk to reward have to be so ridiculous. It'd be so hard to time that. You might as well just put your eggs in one basket and pick a direction, because you have to put your stops outside where any possible wicks could happen. You'd have to manage your risk on one, as in it's in the green. What's likely going to happen is you're going to tag out and then take pennies on the other one, or tag out of both. It is always funny. I do laugh when people do that. Last week, outside the expected move, we did rein it back in. I agree. 3 streams is hard to follow. Don has carried Brad long enough on things. True. The 3 streams I thought I could juggle for you guys. Don Franz show is still very much a thing. So if it is AI related, it will be on Don Franz show. Okay, let's talk about a couple things. One, I do have 100 more shares of GME now. I told you guys I am going to keep you updated. I haven't made my first video about this yet. I had sold a 35 put. That got assigned. And I'd kept the other one. I'd sold another one. And then I had rolled it a couple weeks, it felt like. Maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Anyway, I decided I wanted to get the shares. Because if it does pop up, I would rather have the shares and manage it from that standpoint. I just felt it was better to actually take assignment. Plus, I guess locking up capital. I had 3,500 locked up regardless of what the price was at, so I'd rather just free that up. I don't know, multitude of reasons. I just kind of thought it'd be better to have the shares. So right now it's up after hours. They did finish up selling their shares. So GameStop did liquidate and sell some shares. Took a page out of AMC's book. And so now that they're all done, they announced that when you guys do sell, when a company does sell shares, I want to say, don't quote me on this, there's a 10% cap you can do each day. So like if I'm GameStop, AMC, I can't just come out and say I'm going to sell 10 billion worth of shares today. I don't care if it does market drop this thing. I'm going to soak up everyone's money. There are limits to it, so they did it. They reached their limit, their cap each day. Anyway, it's all done, and I think that's probably why it popped up. So we'll see what action is there. I'm going to share I have the 34 call sold on one. When this pops up, I will sell another one, and I'm going to keep you guys posted on that. And I'm really doing this not to join any movement. Again, it is just to show the people that are holding this, there are ways to make money around this. There's ways to make this an amazing trade. By the time this could have happened right here, not only could you have already been up, you could have been up significantly. Even if your average price, let's say you're bag holding it from way back here, you would have done just fine. You would have done absolutely amazing. And after watching that movie, Dumb Money, and reading all the GameStop comments, that's really what's spurring this on. And I'm going to say this a lot. I'm sorry if you've heard it a lot. Just know that if this position goes to zero, I don't even notice. It's not to be cocky. It's just 200 shares. For me, that is just not that's not anything, right? So I want to be clear on that one. But I'm pretty sure I will make money on this. So here's the options chain. We are expecting a $5 move. We'll ignore that by any imagination. We will ignore that. Somebody did say, "Hey, what do you think about the 20 strike calls?" It was it last week? Now, one of these 20 strike calls, I don't know. Is it the monthlies? The open interest or something was absolutely ridiculous. I haven't had a chance to check it out, but it was in the comments. They said they wanted to know my opinion. Let's go June. June's got a lot. Wow. So open interest is 108,000. Interesting. The problem with this is you don't know if they sold all of these or if they bought all of these. And I'm sure someone might have the answer. Someone maybe that watches it closer. If they sold all of these, that's 108,000. We'll call it 109,000 times $400. Now, if you sold all those, that's going to be a lot of money you get to keep. It's a decent trade. If you bought all of these and it sends it to 70 again, also rich. So someone's probably about to make a lot of money on that. As far as my opinion goes, everything I say on this, someone's going to tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. I do. If this was a large cap stock, something a little bit more important, I might have some more insight. Oh, is my head in the way? My bad. I noticed that, and then I saw Lisa's comment right away. 108,000 right here on the 20 strike. Typically, if this is NVIDIA, Microsoft, I know we're buying these companies. GameStop really is a tough one. So to say with any certainty at all would be foolish. Because I just don't know if I don't know who's buying or who's selling. I don't know if you ever do. Even your best guess is that's really kind of all it is. But it's intriguing. I will say that. And I'm not trying to sell anybody on a GameStop position. Cody says Don doesn't go to the casino. He plays GME. Yeah, basically. This is the same money I would put on. I'd put it on a blackjack table, thinking maybe I could play the book. Whatever the big guys say. Roaring Kitty had those contracts. Oh no. Roaring Kitty is hanging out with the Boeing whistleblowers. Sorry. That's someone else in his account. Just kidding. Man, I don't know. I don't think I'll be buying any of these. But it's intriguing. I'll put it that way. What I did want to point out, though, is if you sell some weekly contracts like I'm going to do, $5 move. Let's say we respect that. We'll call it 26.50s. Now, the 26.50s right now are $87. Means I could sell a contract right now at 26.50 and collect $87. Now, if it does shoot up, I will sell you my shares at 26.50 if it does. And I will also keep your $87 per 100 shares. Sell the 34s. I'm collecting $35 less. $35 less. I would collect $52, but then I would sell my shares at $34. So who actually made more money? You collect a couple bucks less. Share-wise, it shoots up a lot more. So I would consider looking at the chain when you're selling these options because, yes, you might go from 50 to 70. And if you're one of those people that's been bag holding, averaging on, or whatever your plan was, if you've got 1 billion shares, that's a huge dent in what you're collecting weekly. But if it shoots up and turns into a pump again, if it does this again, I sell my shares at 34. You sold your shares at 26.50. Now, in this scenario, you might roll, you might let some go, you might play a little bit of both. But just think about that, and only you can handle that position. Just put pen to paper and see, what if it does shoot up? What if in the retail week we send this thing? Is that extra $20 worth it? What if it shoots up to $30, has that resistance? Now you have to sell your shares. There's a psychological level at 30. Now I got the growth of the shares, and I collected that gambler's money. Now I win both ways. So ton of things to think about when you're in this. I got 10 GME at 21.50. Let's lotto. No way I could do this without at least 100 shares. If I'm going to be entertaining this idea, I need to make some money on it. Lawyer says I have covered calls at 30. Come on, GME. We'll see. After the liquidation process is now done, I'm curious, because this is the pop-up I saw on the news on this was they were done selling shares. So now I'm curious, without that sell-side activity, if the retail crowd comes in. Let's talk about the stock that first of all, let's break it off easy, okay? I'm going to grab NVIDIA in the growth account. I might wait for it to split. I might not. I'm debating. I don't. 6 to 1, half a dozen. If we catch a dip, I'm going to. So be on the lookout for that. I will have 100 shares of this in the growth account. Probably rather aggressively. It won't be margin yet. But the second margin unlocks an income at 100 shares, I will finish it up and grab 100 shares. But right now, the premium we collect on, so we have do we have SoFi? Did SoFi get taken away? Gosh, I can't remember. Someone let me know in the comments. Do we have SoFi? I know we have Palantir. Okay. We had a contract, so we still have SoFi. We still have Palantir. The premium we collect from selling calls, we will go into from now on NVIDIA, not NVIDIA. Yeah, we had what worried me is I got the notification about, I had a ton of notifications from SoFi. GameStop was assignment. SoFi was the call expired, worthless. All right, so from now on, going into NVIDIA, we are going to have that. There is a chunk of shares I'm going to buy now. Mike and I did a video about NVIDIA before I move on. This offers a very unique opportunity in the market. This is probably going to be my next Ford position, if not Palantir. Technically, this one does because it checks all the boxes. Ford, paid a dividend. It was boring. It didn't grow. The barrier to entry was nothing. Barrier to entry is a little bit more, right? It's $100, not $10. But it's going to be one that the premium I collect on NVIDIA will instantly just buy shares that week, every time I do it, until it's a decade later and I have 40,000 shares again. Anyway, that's where that's going. The one stock I'm going to buy that I was researching today, QuantumScape. Now, this is a trade that I literally just took, but this is actually going in my investment account for solid-state batteries. I don't think solid-state batteries are around the corner, but I think the conductor's yelling all aboard. It's time to get on this train if you want. I do think solid-state batteries will be the next leap in EVs and robots, phones. It'll break through everything. There's actually been quite a few improvements. There's been a lot of tech and development in solid state. And now that we have that figured out, because solid state batteries do exist, but it's not, there's no mass production of it. And it wouldn't make sense. I'd have to go spend $100,000 to get a solid state battery for my iPhone. It's not feasible yet, but I think that's around the corner. And I do think we're probably a year or two off before that is solved and figured out. Without breaking into the mechanics, there's the new solid-state batteries without even an anode in there. Let's say it's an anode. anyway, there's something that breaks down the lithium. If you've ever seen a lithium battery break down, it actually grows spikes on almost like a cave ceiling. And when that punctures through that divider, that's when the cell goes bad, if not blows up. Shout out to Samsung. Remember those Android phones that would blow up on your face? What a cool party trick. I've never had that happen because I have iPhone. But anyway, if this does turn into a pump and shoots up to $10, I'll take 100% of my money and I'll close it. Now, if we grind our way up into 10, then I'll keep it. For right now, because I like this company right now and I do want to invest in it, and this will probably have an AI video coming out with Mike on Don Fran's show, a little bit more in depth. But I wanted to explain it because this will go in the growth count as well. I don't know if the options are going to pay anything, if it's worth it. Certainly not a play I would agree with me if you don't have Robinhood and you're paying for options contracts. It pumps so much that if it does that again, I'm likely just going to trail it and call it, and I'll buy it back in. It'll stay in my investment account. Just that one caveat of I'm not going to ride this thing all the way up and all the way back down. If it sends it like that, 100%. And if Meta were to shoot up in that time frame and do the same thing, Meta's up 100% inside 30 days, of course I'm going to sell. Anyway, that's what I wanted to break down is the new ones coming in on this. What just happened to my... Oh. Hang on. All right. Samsung is so trash. Careful, Cody. 46 of you guys here. I need at least 20 more of you guys to hit the thumbs up button for me. Can you do that real quick? And let me know, because I just dropped some bombs on you. If you're following the Patreon account, are you gonna follow the QuantumScape? Are you following NVIDIA? Certainly you are. Anyway, let me know what you think about these two tickers, and jump in the comments. It's been a while since I've actually just had one chat up and able to talk to you guys, trying to stream on multiple things. I'm glad to see some new tickers to play. Yeah, there was someone else that said this. He said, I wish the growth account would take a little bit more directional plays. I wish we could too. And I want to clear that up, because the reason I started the growth account over is because no one paid attention until it was up over 100%. Once all of a sudden it was up 140%, everyone started opening their eyes and saying, oh, wait a second. All right. I take the plays that we can afford to take at the time. And if the opportunity shows up, like we took there's been one day trade, and it was SPY. Now I had a little bit higher conviction in that play, but there needs to be the perfect setup if I'm going to take it. Right now we're accumulating shares. We're in the accumulation phase. As the account grows, there will be more trades. And I'm telling you, what starts off slow, what a lot of people just don't give enough time, is the slow phase. They'd rather follow someone who's doing 0-day expirations or just straight out buying options contracts instead of selling them. Just think of it this way, guys. There's the slot machine, and then there's the person at the slot machine. It's very boring to sit there as a slot machine for 8 hours a day, wait for someone to come up and play it. But then someone does, and then move on. But eventually you just keep making the money. Eventually the casino grows in business and more people come. So it's getting there. We're finally at a stage where we can make multiple plays a week. That is still selling though. But you got to remember, if we take a loss, how much does that set us back? If I take a directional play and it sets us back $150, that's a week right there. Like that set us back a week. Perfect. We're up 36%. I don't want to go backwards. I want to get to another 100%. And then I want to make another 100% on top of that. So I have to take plays that right now are making money, because I need to. And this is what I would do. If my account's only $5,000 and that's all I can afford, I can't afford to be gambling right now. Absolutely not. I'll leave that to the gamblers. And I'm sure they'll share a win on Instagram. And that's cool. And they'll be gone in 6 months. That'll be it. Not me. Kane says, QS looks like a gamble I could handle. This is going in my investment account, which is why I wanted to talk about this on a video. Again, a more in-depth one's going to come on Don Fran's show. But the price action around this is very much everyone's favorite pump and dump. And I will take I'll take profit for sure. You have to. Oh, okay, I like this. Cody says you have to unlock new levels in the stock market before you can take certain plays. It's like a video game. Yes, and I'm not starting the investment account over or the growth account over. Everyone who missed the first run, this is it. First run we capped it out. It was like 142% in 9 months, and then we started over. The market's been different, so there hasn't been, I'm sure someone will argue this, a lot of directional plays. There has, but there's a lot of, for anyone who's going to entertain that argument, a lot of hindsight with that. There's been a lot of choppiness involved. So we're at 36% now. This one's not starting over. This one's going to $1 million, period. And that's that. And I'm sure I'll have my following up to that, and then we'll be good. Let's see. I follow always. Right now we have Palantir and SoFi. What calls do we have on Palantir? Do we have a call sold on Palantir? Let's see. We have the 22. Okay. That's what we have right now. So tomorrow morning we'll get an alert for I'll sell a call on SoFi. Hopefully that pumps up so I can sell the 750s. I don't want to sell the 7s on SoFi. GameStop is actually popping up right now. Robinhood has 24-hour market, so let's just check that out real quick. GME right now. Robinhood says it's trading at 22.80. So this doesn't have it. So right now Robinhood has it at right here. So we're right back at that peak. So we shall see. Yeah, we have the 22s. No, it should be the 20. Yeah, 22 call. I've been back and forth on pay attention to the expiration dates coming up because I might go out 3 weeks on especially on SoFi. I might sell the 750s but go out 3 weeks. It'll still decay a week at a time like everything does. So we'll still manage it on a weekly basis. But I might have to go out 3 weeks on that one. Any further questions? We've been live for about 30 minutes. But 50 of you guys here. We got a pretty decent like to live ratio. So I don't mind hanging out. Any more questions? On QS, are you selling the 550 puts or buying outright? I'm going to buy outright just because, one, if I'm going to put up $550, I might as well just buy the 100 shares. And why I'm probably not going to sell calls on it is because of this right here. Now, if I sold, let's pull up the QS. All right, so here's the QS 550. I could collect $5. Honestly, that's cool, but for what the price action's showing us, $5 is not worth it. We're expecting we'll call it 45 cents. So where are we at? 5.8. So we'll have to sell the 650s, and we'll collect $3. How pissed would you be to now? Granted, you're going to put up $580, and you're going to collect $3. $6? I already forgot. $3. Okay. You could sell the 6s for $9, but you're going to be in management mode instantly. But how annoying would it be to collect the $9, the $3, and then it shoots to 10 in 1 week? Because that's going to be hundreds of dollars compared to your 3. So I do want to grab it now. I want to have the shares because I just don't know if I'll sell anything. If you wanted to play the back and forth game, what I would do is probably, if I could afford to do 200 shares for anybody, and yes, I can afford a lot more than that. But for anybody else, this is generally speaking, what I would do, let's say 200 shares, I would buy 100 shares outright, and then I would jack around with the other 100 share value, as in I would sell the 550s until assignment or something like that. That way, because if you look at this, that's too many. You can call it pump and dumps, call it whatever you want. This is the middle finger pattern right here. Too many of those. And so I would just look to capitalize on that. If that made it to $10, yeah, zero FOMO. If it makes it to $10 and I sell and it goes to 13, sure. I'm still not even worried I'm going to buy it cheaper in just a week or two. So that's why I don't know if the wheel strategy would be a profitable one on this, as opposed to just letting this thing go. Put it on the back burner, let it sit in your account, and if it sends it, manage it. Do you think AMD will follow NVIDIA or retrace? I get why you're lumping those two together because they're both chips. Until AMD comes out with a competition to NVIDIA, I don't. AMD. Let me just say this: AMD and NVIDIA used to walk hand in hand. We call this the poverty NVIDIA. If you couldn't afford NVIDIA, you bought AMD. But this is NVIDIA's just beaten to the tune of its own drum. I don't know if I would correlate those two together. AMD is like that awkward. Intel and NVIDIA, they hate each other. AMD is friends with both, and it's trying to straddle that line. Imagine being that awkward friend. So I just don't know if I would word that question that way. At this point, I can't say ever, but for now, I wouldn't worry. I would worry about maybe the sector in general. You said you're bullish AMD. I am too. I don't think NVIDIA just sits alone forever. I'm sure as technologies happen, the CEOs, they're cousins. But at this point, NVIDIA is just the golden child. They're not in the same league. You'd have to be awfully bearish to be sitting here calling that a giant bear flag on AMD. I think that was the turnaround. Until AMD breaks that 157 mark, I probably would be bullish. AMD is a fly on NVIDIA soup. Yeah, exactly. What about NVDL for people who can't afford 100 shares of NVIDIA? First of all, if you can't afford it, you can't play it. And I know where you're getting at. I'm going to pull that up. But I hear this a lot. I can't afford that, so can I buy this? And if you can't afford it, you just need to. It's just like being at the place that has all the roller coasters, amusement park, right? If you're not this tall, you can't go on the ride. That's that. If you try doing something else, you're asking for trouble. But and I get that question a lot because, like, hey, Don, I can't afford that options contract. Let me buy a few dollars out of the money. And I make money because the stock goes up. They lose money because the stock went up, but not enough. There is a very, very fine line when you're playing this game. NVDL, 2 times long NVIDIA daily ETF. Anytime you introduce leverage, you're asking for it. So what's going to happen here is this is going to get absolutely smoked later. Has the potential. I'll put it that way. When NVIDIA does the split, and a lot of times it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event where it does sell off at the end or later. There's that period, and that your gains just will not be worth it. So I think there's a time and place for this. But it's $50. NVIDIA's going to be $100. I don't know. I think I would rather I would wait. I would make it one of my goals and just wait and grab NVIDIA because this 2 times long right here just introduces leverage decay. And I just wouldn't be a fan. Go over to the small world after all. You're playing with fire. Options aren't horrible on NVDL, but leverage NVIDIA just doesn't sound worth it. Yeah. I had to chalk this up just like I would TQQQ. Like if I can catch the dip, it would be a swing trade. All about that. And as long as it's going up, I'll be in it. But I'm trailing it. It's not an investment. It's a trading instrument. Intel's basing out. I do have Intel right now. This is a real trade. And it's just hanging out. Maybe one day it'll do something. It is. Now, I do like NVIDIA around the $30 mark. This is a conversation I had back here when I took this play, especially with the group. I like it at this level. It's certainly... It used to be like, man, if you were buying chips, and Intel clearly had a name in the chip game. Right now, it is just not as strong. And if you're talking about sentiment is what drives this. You know what's fundamentally changed between here and there? Not much. Nothing. Sentiment has. Can they hang with what's it when you want to hang with the Jetsons? Hang with who are the rich people you're trying to hang with? The Morses, the Smiths. the crowds. When you just want to be like there's a term out there, the Joneses, yeah. They really set the bar, and everybody else that's not at that bar is just, well, they're not there. And then clearly, why would I have, if I wanted to be in the chip sector, why would I have it in Intel when I could buy NVIDIA? And I'm sure a lot of that is what drove some sell pressure here and then more buying in NVIDIA. Intel options aren't too bad. Intel is actually a great ticker when it comes to my world as far as trading, maybe running the wheel strategy on it. Intel was in the growth account last year. At one point, we had shares, a sold contract, and puts. SMH just seems safer. Maybe. But I still can't help the fact that I think you're saying shake my head every time I see that ticker. Let's pull that up. I do want to answer this question real quick. How does decay work on leveraged ETFs? I heard you compare TQQQ to QQQ. How the time decay affected TQQQ versus QQQ. Very simple. Let's pull that up real quick. Can we do two? Let's do two. Let's go QQQ. Let's make sure we're on the daily. Let's go TQQQ. All right, let's grab some dip action here. All right, where was the best example for this? Okay, all-time highs. So here's what we have on the chart. We have QQQ, and we have that sell-off, right? Because the stocks crashed and the world was on fire. And then QQQ, the Nasdaq, recovered and is at all-time highs. Now, as I move my cursor over here, you'll see the line over here move. It's correlated to the same date. Here's the all-time highs in TQQQ. When QQQ was also at all-time highs. And then they had that sell-off. Now, if you had all your money invested in TQQQ, let's see, you lost from all-time highs to lows. You were down 82%. Not bad, although at that point you would probably have some GameStop people laughing at you. That's embarrassing, especially because you're in the Nasdaq. Now, if you're in QQQ, you were down 38%. The cool thing is that roller coaster went down 38% to now, let's say you bought right here at the peak. You're now up 12%. Okay? Now, if you bought the peak of TQQQ and still held, you're only down 29% now, 28%. So only short TQQQ. I tried it. I was going to say, in theory, I speak to things that have experience on, and I'm currently doing it right now. Thanks, but don't talk anymore. I don't know which one that was. But they said, you got it. And hopefully I didn't just take a giant short position or whatever I was just talking about. I'm long TQQ, but it's just a temporary trade. Real quick, if you bought the bottom of TQQQ, you're up 300%. Okay? If you bought the bottom of QQQ, I even gave you a little bit. You're up 80%. TQQQ, SQQ, these leverage ETFs, they are trading vehicles. They are for people like me. They are for traders. They are not for YouTubers that have no idea what they're talking about. They're not for investing. They're not in the investing world. They are by design to go to zero, reverse split, and do it again. Both of them, SQQQ and TQQQ. So what I kind of want to do is, and I'm doing this right now, but I'm playing this weird game with it, is can I buy 100 shares of both and sell calls against them both and just let the decay do its thing? Doesn't matter if the shares are up or down. Just let it go. And just continue. Let it reverse split. Fine, I'll just sell 5 more contracts and just let it go. It used to be, and I've made fun of countless YouTubers for being in SQQQ and TQQQ options. It's leverage on leverage. And the volume there was nothing. Like if I told you guys, if I'm live right now, there's 55 of you guys right here. I said, let's all go buy just one call. We would have shown up on flow reports. I mean, we would have tripled and quadrupled, if not more, the open interest and volume on almost any of them. There was like 3 or 4 people. The spreads were just as horrendous. It was terrible. Now the options volume and open interest, it actually isn't that bad on TQQQ. So that's the only reason I'm entertaining the idea now. But just remember, if you ever think, I found something, I found a code, I've unlocked something in the stock market, you haven't. You just haven't figured out the rest of it, and somebody else already has. When you hear people say these markets are incredibly efficient, they really are. There is a design to them, and if there was ever anything to exploit, it does get exploited, and it gets figured out pretty quickly and used against you. For case in point, GameStop. Yeah, they got exploited. That was the biggest case. They even made a Netflix movie about it. But that will be used against you, which is what I think is going on right now for a lot of people. Do you use spot gamma for options data? I do not. Let's see. All right. I found the decay on NVDL now. It will happen. I'm selling calls against my shares, but quick to take profits until you can get a good buffer. Yeah, if you can catch... See, the thing is with hindsight, and this is what I mentioned earlier with some YouTubers, when I say things just weren't that directional. Things are getting nuts. These are some wild moves up and down. If you can catch this, catch a decent move up, and just give it the proper room, you could be in something like this. It might be sideways, but if you could just let it go a little bit and not just hug it so tight you get out of the trade, kick your feet up on the desk, take a Xanax, go do something else, just be not allocated too wide that you have to take that profit, you could probably catch a decent swing in some of these. Yeah, so I get what you're saying. Like, as long as if you catch that buffer out of the gate real quick, you can be in some awesome trades. All right, I do have to wrap it up. I do have to get to my group. It is Zoom night. I'm sure we'll be talking for the next 6 hours. Just kidding. But you guys will see. What's today? Monday? I guess Wednesday. Let's let the day settle. It's weird. Usually I'm live on Sunday, and you'll see me again live on Tuesday and Thursday breaking down the markets. With my group, it's every day. Because of the week, yeah, there's not going to be much to talk about tomorrow. You see me again Wednesday. So I will see you guys all there. Make sure you are subscribed. Again, to comment on here, you do have to be subscribed for any amount of time. That part's free. Nick Lee says, thanks for the stream. Love the content. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. I genuinely do for everybody. So as far as, again, one last time, instead of streaming on multiple streams anymore, that's all done. It's going to be here. Should be less confusing now, so just make sure you're subscribed to this one. Turn the little bell on. And I do like answering questions. There's a reason why I go live. It is to talk to you guys. So if you're going to be here, get those thumbs working, get those keyboards working, even if it's an Android. Don't worry, we'll work on that. You will soon be able to afford an iPhone. I promise. Anyway. Mentorship, don't go anywhere. Everywhere else, you guys will see me Wednesday.